We all need to be soothed, don't we? That was beautiful. I'm always so grateful for our music, Rick and our wonderful band. And for me, music is a spiritual practice as well. And I'm going to talk about some spiritual practices in a little bit, but while I was sitting there, I'm like, wait a minute. What if you walked into places and instead of hearing news and bad news especially, you heard Beethoven? How soothing would that be? What a beautiful spiritual practice it is. So welcome to March 8th. And the talk today is traveling in a world of my creation. And the core question here is, what inner world am I creating and how does that shape my life? Our book of the month, Beyond Anxiety by Martha Beck, has been quite profound for me because what I'm learning from it is how many ways anxiety truly shows up in my life. You don't really recognize it because we're so used to it. And that anxiety is a place where I'm not being creative or stepping into what I'm being called to do, but I'm buying into the fear. A little bit more about that. I want to talk about day 37 of our 64 days of nonviolence. We're in the season right now. And the word today is graciousness. Isn't that a great word? Graciousness. So give others the right of way, stop to let others pass, hold a door open for someone, and offer someone a helping hand. Graciousness. Elizabeth Gilbert says about graciousness is, there's hardly more gracious gift we can offer to somebody than to accept them fully. I've experienced that in my life. How about you? To be accepted, to feel accepted fully, that is the heart of graciousness. So think about this. What are some simple acts of graciousness that you have witnessed or experienced in the last few weeks? And perhaps you can take action. Find at least one opportunity to be gracious today. Write about it at the end of the day. What insights did you have because you showed up in graciousness? So, on to our what if topic of the month. Now, last week I introduced a sheet of paper called March What If, and if you need this, make sure you visit the hospitality team because they have it for you. I'm giving everybody an assignment this month. If you're here, guess what? You've got homework. Well, I don't call it homework. I call it growth work. What we're doing on this sheet of paper is, on the left side, we're writing those worst case scenarios. What if the world goes to hell in a handbasket? No. What if things don't work out? What if I get sick? What if I lose all my money? What if, you know those what ifs that run through our minds? But the other side of the paper is, what if anything is possible? What if this time that we're in is creating a new world of love and possibility? I want a what if every single day. Just one. If you've got more, cool. And I want to give credit to Megan Stelito because she's the one that gave me the idea for this assignment. Her website's at the bottom of the sheet of paper if you want to know more about her. Phenomenal speaker and coach, and she'll be back in our center very soon. So, last week I talked about this assignment so that we can encourage ourselves to change the habitual thinking of those negative what-ifings. This is how you do it, folks. You create new habits. So I'm telling you to take this. Take this home with you. In fact, Jim sitting in the back there, he sent me his assignment this week. And it came out in a song. I'm not going to play it today, but I'm going to invite all of you. If you have a creative idea that comes out of this assignment, send it to me. And at the end of the month, the last Sunday of the month, we'll enjoy them together. So, on to traveling in a world of my own creation. In other words, that world that we carry inside. See, I've observed this and experienced this. You can have 2 people or 10 people in the same room, and everyone's going to experience something different. Well, I had one brother. We had the same parents, the same homes, the same dogs, and we experienced something very different from each other. Because we were both creating our own internal worlds. That's what happens. That's what happens when we have different ideas about things, because I'm not in Rick's head or Irene's. I'm here in this head, creating my own world. Even though we have the same information coming in, the same people in our world, the same situations and circumstances. So, we're always traveling, but the most powerful journey isn't traveling in geography, Donna, although you're traveling the world all the time. It's through this inner world of consciousness. That's where the power is. Ernest Holmes says that life is always mirroring consciousness in our outer world, what we see manifest. If you're wondering what your consciousness is believing, look at what's happening in our world. Sometimes it's ew, right? That again? Now what? I get it. He also says that, from our thoughts and our beliefs is what ends up out picturing in our lives. That's why around here, we talk about changing your thinking. And it doesn't happen in an instant, you guys, because we're brought up in a world where, I don't know about you, my parents had a certain way of thinking about things, and they ingrained it in me. And it wasn't until I was very fortunate, I was pretty young to start in a spiritual life, that I realized, wait a minute, I don't have to think that way. I remember going to art school, and I knew that if I followed my passion, I followed my love, that life would just work out. I knew that as a young adult. Yeah, somewhere in my 20s and 30s, I got caught up into that, you got to work hard world. You got to adult. All those things you have to do. And I kind of lost track of my passions until I found my spiritual community at Center for Spiritual Living and said, wait a minute, there's something here for me. So, here's a question. What if the world that you are experiencing is really a reflection of the world you're carrying inside? This is what I want to say. The world that we carry inside is not always the truth of who we are. The world that I carried inside for many years was an aunt's voice. Well, she was a great aunt, telling me that I was just like my other aunt who was quote unquote lazy. I believed that for so many years. Now it takes tying me down to get me lazy. That's just not my natural makeup, to be quote unquote lazy, but I believed someone. Or a teacher in school telling me I wasn't good at mathematics. Yet I come from a family that are very gifted in mathematics. They're a bunch of bookkeepers and accountants, and it comes naturally. But I believed some teacher. That world I had created inside wasn't true, you guys. What do you say to yourself that really isn't true? Maybe it has something to do with your self-worth. Because it doesn't look like someone else's. So in our book of the month, Martha Beck says that anxiety is the imagination running in the direction of fear. Jim told us that. Isn't that so true? Creativity, though, is imagination running toward the possibility of being creative. I know that when I'm being creative, when creative ideas come through, that's what I want to jump on. I don't want to believe the other side of the page there that says, yeah, well, what if it doesn't work out? Or what if you make a mistake? Or what if people don't understand what you're saying? What if people don't buy into it? It doesn't matter as long as I'm in alignment with my creative self, my soulful self, what I'm here to do and to be. I want to give you some examples of some amazing women, since it's Women's History Month and International Women's History Day, of some people that didn't believe that inner dialogue based on what was going on in their younger lives. How about someone that found courage? Florence Nightingale, known as the Lady with the Lamp. Florence Nightingale nursed injured soldiers during the Crimean War. Her passion and dedication changed the public's perception about this profession. And I happen to love a nurse and have a lot of nurses in my life. I'm so grateful for nurses. It's certainly not my calling. Her insistence on improving sanitary conditions for the patients is believed to have saved many lives. See, she survived through a hostile war and saved many lives. How about refusing to be a victim even though she was victimized? Malala Yousafzai. I don't know if I said that right. I was practicing it, you guys. So Malala, in 2012, a gunman boarded Malala's school bus in Pakistan and shot her 3 times in the head. Her crime? She spoke out about educating girls. In 2013, the Time magazine listed her as one of the most 100 influential people in the world. On the 10th of October 2014, she co-received a Nobel Peace Prize at 17 years old. What an achievement. What an amazing woman. She refused to accept the consciousness of being a victim and rose above it. If she listened to that inner dialogue, I'm someone that was victimized. I got shot. No. She rose above that. How about an example of courage to imagine more? Maya Angelou. Despite trauma and silence in her childhood, she created an inner world of expression and truth. What a phenomenal writer, phenomenal woman. Some of my favorite poems and sayings are because of Maya Angelou. Her life demonstrates that imagination can transform suffering into wisdom. She could have stayed in that internal world of suffering, but she didn't. See, what I'm trying to tell you all is that we all have these internal worlds that we live in. And sometimes they cause us grief and suffering and challenges, and you can rise above it. But how do you rise above it? You have to do these practices. Do the what if assignment. Because I'm asking you, do you want to keep rehearsing fear? Or do you want to start rehearsing possibility? As you travel, as I travel through my life, I want to travel from a curious heart rather than a place of, oh dread, what's happening next? Curiosity. So here's some practices that we can do. First of all, affirmative prayer, which we do here on Sundays. You can get your own prayer in across the room. But today is a special day. It's called the Wall of Prayer. So instead of me doing the prayer, we're going to have prayer practitioners around the room, and you can get your own prayer. Powerful. And if you're not a prayer practitioner and you haven't taken classes yet, all you have to do is be thankful for what you already have. And that's a great way to start affirmative prayer. Affirming your gratitude for what you already have. So affirmative prayer. Meditation. Now I know I've met so many people that tell me, Cindy, I can't sit still, or my mind doesn't sit still. I sit down on the chair and I think of the 10 things on my to-do list instead of sitting in the silence. Who said it's always going to be silent? See, there's only one thing happening here, and that's spirit, God, whatever you call it, universe. Universe uses our minds, our bodies, our souls. So sometimes when I'm sitting in meditation, I get the best downloads. I've gotten logos for businesses. I've gotten ideas to call certain people. So it's never a waste of time. Even if your meditation time ends up being loud and busy, it's okay. The point is, you're taking a moment to listen, to connect with your higher self, to be one with the one with Creator. That's the important thing. The next thing is, and I've already said this, is curiosity. Be curious about your own inner landscape. Where did that come from? Why do I think that about myself when if I was still carrying around you're lazy, well, where does that come from? That didn't come from me. That came from an auntie Why do I still carry that? Why do I still buy into that? Be curious. Don't beat yourself up for it. Just say, I wonder why that's coming back, or I wonder where that came from. Be curious about your world, your inner landscape. Maybe, for me, the most powerful thing that happens is the curiosity perks up and I can ask myself a different question. Instead of why or where that came from, I can say, what is trying to happen through my life? How can I show up in possibility rather than fear? How can I run to my destination rather than shield myself from what I think might happen? Creative imagination. So going back to the what ifs, doing that assignment every day. Music, like I said when I started, what a great spiritual practice. Whether it's Beethoven or it's New Thought spiritual music by Ricky Byers, our CD from our band, our recording from Everbloom concert, whatever it is, put something on that brings you to who you really are, the truth of you. Music that makes you feel alive, grounded. And that simple gratitude practice that I always go back to. And I always say, thank you, Oprah, because she really is the first one that introduced me to a gratitude practice so many years ago. So the other thing I just want to say is we sometimes have to widen our lens, you guys, to look at the big picture of the whole world. We want these inner worlds pristine in consciousness. We want to be self-aware, because what happens if we do that is the outside world cleans up too. But if there's a bunch of us running around with those negative what ifs, what if there's bombing? What if there's more war? What if this turns into something worse? Then we're going to get more of that. But if we're taking care of the inner landscape, then the outer world will clean itself up. So, this world that we're building together depends on what we cultivate individually. So you know what's yours to do. I know what's mine to do on a daily basis. So women through history, and these examples I gave you, they're showing us change begins inside, and then it appears in our society. All those women I gave you examples of, they changed it inside so that we could have something different outside. So this world that you're traveling through is your creation. Let's think from possibility rather than limitations. Imagine waking up tomorrow and thinking to yourself, what kind of inner world do I want to travel through today? I'm going to invite the practitioners to surround the room. I'm going to start the steps of prayer, and then I'm going to invite you to find a practitioner that's available. And what that practitioner is going to do is going to affirm your prayer request. And also, whoever is available, because then we might get lines for certain people. So practitioners, as I begin prayer, I just ask you to hold the hearts of all these beloveds in this room with gratitude, grateful for affirmative prayer, grateful for this philosophy, grateful for this beautiful, beautiful day and this community, grateful for these amazing women in history that have come and gone through crazy, intense things in their lives and yet held the possibility of what if this could be better? What if I could be better? What if I can change the world by being who I'm here to be? How grateful I am to know that there is only one power, one presence, one love. Whether we call it Mother, Father, God, Allah, Jehovah, Hashem, the way, universe, light, the force, energy, whatever we call it, it is everywhere in everything. It's in the notes of the music. It's in the mountains that surround us. It's in the technology that streams us and our beautiful community that is watching us. It's simply everywhere, every moment of every day, never not. And because I know that, I claim that. I know that I am one and the same as the one, the I am that I am, as well as everyone within earshot of this prayer time. Always wholly unified through this deep sense of oneness. Even when we feel separated by differences of opinions, we're always one. One, only one. Because I know that's what's taking place here. Individual emanations of this oneness. I know it's time to step into whatever your prayer request is. Please go to a practitioner. If you've never done it before, I promise it doesn't hurt. Just go up to a practitioner and ask what your prayer request is. Remember, there's no request that's too small, no request that's too big. If things are going wonderfully, you can pray for more. For your loved ones to have all needs met. You can ask for a prayer request for the world, for peace, for love, for understanding. For beloved community and acceptance, wholeness, recovery. No request is too small. No request is too big. Your prayer request is our prayer request too. By asking for a prayer request from a practitioner, you are blessing them as well. As we know the truth for you, we know the truth for us. As we know the truth for you, we know the truth for the world. This is a wonderful time too for you to hold the people in your lives that need prayer. Maybe it's not a prayer for yourself, but a prayer for someone else. Right now we're creating this beautiful vibratory field and planting seeds. So I plant the seeds of all my beloveds, my family, my friends, my community, my world, this world. In this fertile soil that we're creating in this room. For all of you online, your prayer request has been heard, has been noted. The answer is always yes. Yes, yes, yes. And as we finish up in the room, I take a moment to be thankful for answered prayer. Thankful for this beautiful practitioner core. that has come forth because they were called to be your practitioners, your prayer practitioners in this community. How grateful I am for each one of them, for their heart, for their consciousness, for their love, for their years of study to be standing with you today, knowing the truth. So with great gratitude, I release all the prayer requests, knowing that it is done. It is done now. It is released. And we anchor this by saying together, and so it is. Amen. Ashe. Thank you again, practitioners.